start with a brief opening statement.
Okay. Brief opening statement. Tough to be brief about what happened this summer with men's golf, but we had alumni kind of bookending the summer. And if you were looking at the newspapers, you saw something that was pretty special that happened in the early summer. And that T.J. Howe and Kevin Foley, alumni who have been playing the tours, qualified for the United States Open. The thing that made that extra special was it was right here in Pennsylvania. We had some Nittany Lions over there. So that was very exciting, and we had a couple near misses going. Cole was a near miss getting in the Open himself. So that was that opened up the summer, and the summer somewhat closed with Robert Rahana winning the Pennsylvania Open. So you've got a 2008 grad in Robert, and 2010 in Kevin, and TJ in 11. So that was big news for our program as far as the alumni. And we have some recent alumni that did some things too. But over the course of the summer, we had guys win what we might call major amateur events. And there were 5 of those over the summer. We had an alum win the New Hampshire Amateur, Chris Houston. And but just prior to that happening, Charles Hunsinger, who was a Golf Week All-American and returning sophomore, he won the Dogwood Invitational. And that is a major amateur event in the Atlanta area and draws players from all over the South. And so that's been kind of a big deal. A lot of people have mentioned that to me over the summer. Some of my southern competitors have noted that. So that happened. Those 2 things happened early. I'm going to forget someone somewhere. You guys can help me, bump me a little bit. But Christian went back home after having an internship down in Philly. And so he's doing a lot of work and practice. And the first part of his summer was a bit empty of competitive play. Played a decent Eastern Amateur and went back to Toronto. And the Toronto Star, which you guys are familiar with, runs one of the major amateur events in Canada every summer. And Christian battled back in that tournament and ended up on top. So you might want to ask him a little bit about that achievement. But that's a great win. And another championship that was won this summer, we won the Pennsylvania Open, and Cole on my left won the Pennsylvania Amateur and edged out his one of his best buddies, J.D. Dornis, one of our alumni, in the last round. So that was an exciting event to watch. And then in Washington, D.C., they have a major metropolitan amateur that they run down there, and returning sophomore Evan Santa emerged the winner in that amateur event. So that's not the end of it, and I'm almost out of time. We had 4 individuals qualify for the United States Amateur. That's very, very hard to do, just getting one person in. And we had 4, 2 of them alumni, Jeff Fortalis, Chris Houston, and an incoming transfer, J.D. Hughes. And the final one was Ryan Dornis. So really what I've kind of covered the waterfront with almost our entire roster doing something over the summer. And if I've left anyone out, they probably did something as well. So we're excited about this young team that we have coming in this fall. We have 3 guys in our of our 9 that have played more than 3 collegiate events. So the rest of our guys are under that. So we are very, very young this year. But as you can see, there's reason to be excited about what they could produce. So I'll leave it open to questions. At this time, I try to give you 5 to 10 minutes to do so. Okay.
Cole,
Gordon?
what was the experience like for you going through the process for the U.S. Open, trying to qualify? How different is that experience versus a regular tournament?
For the U.S. Open, it's certainly one
it's almost like a reach at this point right now, when starting as an AM, just because you're going to have so many professionals. So it's one you really want, and if you can pull that off, it says a lot about where your game's at. So for me, I really put a lot of prep work in this year. I went to my local qualifying site, which is close. It's only like 15 minutes from my house, so I put in maybe 2-3 rounds there, and then a solid 5 hours a day on the course about a week before the tournament. And so I made it, just barely made it through the local on a playoff. And from there, you then go to sectionals. And at sectionals, I played really well. But you have 32 professionals at this level versus there were only 24 amateurs at the site. So you're going to have a lot of guys who are just, it's their job. So I played extremely well there. I missed it by 2, and actually one of our previous alum as well, J.D. Dorns, we tied both at 4 under, and 6 under was the cut. So it takes a lot of work to make one of those, but to play that well and really put myself in it shows that I think we're going in the right direction with golf and my game.
Coach, you mentioned having such a young team. Could you just talk a little bit about the process of kind of, how you get those guys that are so young up to speed so that they're, able to contribute and compete?
Yeah, great question for any sport. Ours is a small team, as you know. The up to speed part is really starts today. We'll have a team meeting today, but it starts before they get here. It's really trying to embrace these people before they get on campus. So there's a lot of relationship building that's gone on. So there's that element of caring and trust. And then we get to the details. And these two guys right and left of me know that some of the critical things when you go on into competition are the things that happen off the golf course while we prepare for travel, while we travel, and during the event and post-event. So these guys have to lead, and the guys behind them have got to be really aware of their age, and they got to be really aware of where the leadership's coming from, and they need to follow. So we need to be confident in them, but they definitely need to be very much in tune with why we're trying to play events and not get surprised. And that's tough for young guys.
So for both the players, with everything starting now, you're going back to school, everything is happening. How do you keep on top of your games? How do you keep playing at that kind of level that you've been playing at during the summer?
For me personally, I just say you have to carve out the time to it's a big part of our lives, golf. So you always have stuff going on, but at the same time, there's enough time to practice. And it's exciting for us because this young team, it's also a very, very solid team. So you want to be in the best of shape for this upcoming qualifying and stuff like that to really perform.
I'd also add a lot of the work that we've put in was already done this summer. So the practice we're going to do this fall, is really just going to be tournament prep. Our swing work that we did was this summer and past spring, so we're really ready to go this fall.
Greg, just as a coach, when you see guys, your two guys play at the Open back in June, you had 4 at the USAM. Can you describe the feeling for you as a coach? I guess the pride for helping lay the foundation for guys to get to that point.
Yeah, Kevin and TJ, Cole, who almost made it, JD, who was close. It's such a hard process getting there. I've seen TJ and Kevin on the various tours excel, and super proud of doing that. That lone wolf routine out there on the tours it's a difficult life, and they're still pushing it hard, and we communicate with them, and yeah, it's super exciting, and very, very proud of them. I picked the first day to head over to Oakmont, and that was the day that there was 3 major rain delays, and I think I saw a total of about 4 holes played out there. But I was so excited making the trip over there to get a chance to see them on the big stage. It was just an incredible high.
For Christian and Cole, what are you guys most excited about in terms of taking on a leadership perspective this year and bringing those young guys under your wing?
Yeah, we're definitely excited to adapt the younger guys on our team into our culture that we really, over the past couple of years, built. The past 4 years, our team's become a really tight-knit group of guys. So implementing them and just getting ready to go. And, I think we're all pretty fired up for this fall season to get off to a good start and start where we left off last year.
I'd agree with that. And then I'd also add, though, I'd like to see where we can take them, because I know coming in, for me personally, I was not at the level I am now. And so it's really cool to take these new guys in and see them grow and watch them build their games and their personality as well.
One more thing, and this is more for me than anything else. What are your favorite places to play around the conference? What are your favorite courses?
For me personally, I mean, our sport's a little different than some of the others. A lot of the courses we'll play aren't in conference, but one that I'm always excited to go back to every year is Ohio State. It's definitely a special challenge. I learned that my freshman year. Pardon me, sorry? They play at the Scarlet course at Ohio State, yeah.
okay.
So we play it in April, which you can imagine in Ohio is a pretty special experience for golf. This year we actually played on a white golf course because it was covered in snow. So it's a different experience for us, but we always look forward to the challenge there.
Yeah. I would say for me, it would be I always look forward to Big Tens each year. It's always at a special site. Last 2 years, it was Victoria National, and that is just really an amazing course. It's a lot of fun, and it hosts a web.com tour event. So,
Yeah, it's actually set up for the web.com, so all the stadium is set up. The officials are there, and it's a PGA Tour staff, and we see that, and we're playing just a couple days before that happens. So it's pretty cool how it's linked.
Are the pro courses set up much differently than courses you play as a college match, or are they a lot different?
I mean, not really. Most of the time, actually, they'll take in some college tournaments right before they have a professional event to try to test out the course a little bit. You see that pretty often, but they're usually set up in a very similar manner.
Mm-hmm.
Coach, just looking at the schedule, I see Inverness is on your second stop of the year. That's a fairly historical course, so and I don't remember you guys playing there before. So how does that get on your schedule?
Yeah. We were out there about 4 years ago. I think you try to recall who played, and you can kind of figure out, when that was. That's actually a golf course I'm very familiar with. I had coached for 8 years at Bowling Green prior to coming to Penn State, and it's just up the street. We were up there at least once a year playing there. But that's the type of golf course you go to that, you walk in the clubhouse and you're just consumed with the history on the walls and who sat here, and this shot was played here, and the Inverness had the famous Hinkle tree. You want to know where the Hinkle tree was. Well, it was a par 5 that this Lon Hinkle on the practice round, it was the first round, he hit it through a gap in the trees and cut off about 100 yards on this long dogleg par 5. And the next morning he got out to play in the tournament, or the next morning there was a tree planted in that spot, so that could not happen. Stories like that permeate at that particular site. It's exciting when you go to golf courses where they play the majors at. So to have that on the schedule and a fairly easy place to get to, we're looking forward to being back.
Thanks, Coach.
Mm-hmm.
All right, we're good. Good?